Any other question?
Thomas, it looks like you're ready to go there.
Yes, thank you very much, Chris. Good morning, Mr. Cash.
Good morning, how are you?
Fine, thank you very much.
How's
Mr.
the
Cash,
frozen land of Switzerland at the moment?
for the moment, it's not so frozen. It's raining. And finally, our politicians found out that it would be much better if they would give us back our freedom. So
Pardon? Can you repeat?
our politicians are trying to give us back our freedom. We are sort of relieved of all these things we had to go through over the last 2 years.
No,
Otherwise,
actually, you haven't got your freedom. They slaved your children and your grandchildren. They brought such economical situation on your nations that you had to borrow from them, that now, without a single bullet, you have to pay for these vaccines for 30, 50 years.
you know, I hope that that the system sort of outran itself,
It
because
has outrun itself. Now, most of the countries, they say the game is over, but we'll see how much we earn.
so I think that suddenly all these phantom funds or phantom debts will somewhere disappear.
Oh, I don't see, unless you find a new gold mine and you can pay it.
Yeah, but you know, there is quite a lot of gold around. It's much less
Yeah, it is.
silver. Silver
If
is
every
not
man is a gold is sold, but it depends how you can mine it. Huh?
Yeah,
You know, I know from, you know, if you go back about 30, 40 years ago, Switzerland used to receive all the stolen monies from every illegal activity in the world, and Switzerland was the best place in the world. The streets of Zurich were paved with gold from the money stolen from the others by the payment of their life by nations. As I always said, Switzerland is rich in so many ways, partially from the stealing from the pocket of the whole nation and not from the pocket of individuals. Because most of the world leaders, what they steal from the nations used to bring to Switzerland. So it's a central soul of the theft of the world, I call it.
you know, a big part, sort of, at least what we've stolen from Europe, sort of went back
You
because
haven't stolen from Europe. You have collected from all the big thieves of the world called the world leaders.
you know,
So you
at
are
least
rich enough.
over the last 2-3 years, our national bank sort of was supporting the euro and the dollar and some other currencies in such a way that we had to sort of invent over 1 billion Swiss francs, which suddenly will disappear when the euro and dollar and so on start.
But you've been backed. So you've been backed by Vatican for it and the Russia. So it's not your money. You're giving what they gave you to a slave like further on.
we will be again at the point of, I think, sort of 1845, when we were one of the poorest countries in Europe.
You can't be. You have so many vaults which are not open in Switzerland, which the owners died. I'm sure if the government decides to go for the second cycle of opening vaults, which are over so many 100 years or decades, you'll find out trillions, but nobody knows who they own, who was the original owner. I know this through other part of my life work before Keshe Foundation. And I know how it works and how government officials or people who were in that position, they stole from a nation and they brought it to Switzerland, and then they died. Nobody knew they had these things because it was so badly stolen. And now, if it opens up, I think I always said, if you open national, what do you call it? The rooms, lock rooms in the safes of the safes of the safes, which nobody knows how of the world debts will be paid for what is hidden in Switzerland. You're extremely rich. You will never go poor. Depends which way you dig the hole into the safe.
I'm not so sure if they know all the numbers and if they have all the keys for these safes. Most probably.
You know, I know now it's a bit more difficult, but going back 20, 30 years ago, people used to fly with jets full of gold and diamonds and banknotes of their nation, and they used to deposit. Nobody ever asked questions. They were given a vote and they put it in it. It's part of the structure of the work of Switzerland.
Oh, they still are.
They still come, but it
Yeah.
depends.
We have all these big installations in the mountains from the last war, and they have been sold to different people, and some of them still or have installed in there some safes and so on for foreigners, and they come and bring their gold.
Oh, it's not just gold. Gold is worthless compared to the other things they carry.
Exactly. Even the diamonds, in the meantime.
No, I mean, what is not known by the public, the promissory notes which are issued by central banks to the world leaders. The ones which are petty cash stealers, world leaders, they take gold and what do you call it, diamond. The very educated world leaders, they take promissory guaranteed notes from the government in different shape or form. It's a piece of paper they deposit in Switzerland. And could be for millions and millions, worth sometimes more than they're paying full of gold. We have a contract signed for 400 billion between China and Iran. The loan commission for the leaders or people who sign over instrumental to happen is over $40 billion, which means the nation of Iran, for generations to come, has to service this 40 billion. And it's all in notes, it's not in cash, in promissory notes.
Mr. Kesh, if you ask me, I'm
not going to ask you too much because you know too much.
My belly tells me that over the next few, whatever, weeks, months, years, whatever is in paper is going to sort of have absolutely no more value.
Yeah, because they changed it to plastic nowadays. All the currencies, you
Right.
get a pound is a plastic, so paper has no value.
But look, our whole financial system is bankrupt. It only exists everywhere there are credits.
Well, let me explain to you something. Let me explain to you. The system mankind has brought for himself in payment will not go bankrupt, will not disappear. As long as the man works in the dimension of the matter state and material state. When you don't need to kill an animal and you can take the energies of the environment, you have no one to buy a lamb. There is no currency for it. Doesn't matter how much you give it free even. When we see this now, we see this very, very clearly. And His Excellency President Biden has understood this very well during the Obama's time, and now he's been given a chance. He's trying to implement it in a different way in the United States. Does not matter you have the geniuses in making weapon technology in any shape or form. when due the peace process and countries with the corona have no hunger to buy anymore. Even in the national governments cannot be bought. And this is the process which will come. When things have no value, you can have a full supermarket with the most beautiful food. When the knowledge seekers learn how to feed themselves with the energies of the whatever you call, they might walk the shop, but they will not buy the shop because they are not hungry. There is no hunger for food. And it's the same, there is no hunger for war anymore. We have satisfied in so many ways, in different dimensions and positions this. Will come. The world of what we call exchange, what we call papers or currency or monetary money, only finishes when man finds out the things he values so much have no more value. Japanese government has a huge problem with the Keshe Foundation from the outset. When I explained to the Japanese that the properties in Tokyo will have no value very soon, or in New York, because if you can live in the most beautiful sceneries in the world and you can be at your office and you work from home, you don't need to be in the office, what's the value of these properties? You can fake it through insurance policies, but there's no buyers for it and empty. We see that today. Today, the value of the property is going high, but most of the office blocks are empty because people have learned to work from home. We don't need offices to do business and integrate and work. And the only way these prices are going up is because of the insurance policies. Insurance policies you buy as a pension policy. And what you will see is one insurance company is selling the property to another insurance pension fund, which is actually a subsidiary of itself in the backdoor way, and then a few months later buys it at a higher price to show it made a profit. You cannot buy any substantial office premises anywhere in any city in the world which pension policies don't own. And they buy and sell from each other, which is partially themselves, to create a fake figures when they come to pay the policies, but it's all in figures. So monetarism is going to come to its own understanding when there is no buyer for it. We'll see that coming up. We see that this gradually will come up. When you live on the moon, what do you need a property somewhere to pay millions to be in the center of a city where you live in the most beautiful places in the universe? It's a gradual time. Knowledge seekers, and in understanding this, you will see the changes of it which you will bring in this process to the whole structure. Any other questions? Shall we call it a day?
Mr. Keshe, I had a question, if I still may ask you to consider it. I sort of go from the point where you said that Earth was calling for, I don't know, shall I say, help for people who come, and so I assume I heard this call and I came here. But what my question really is, how did all these warmongers and sucks and I don't know how I should call them, how did they finally arrived here. To turn this beauty into this sort of world for the inhabitants, which nobody seems to see all this beauty because of all these wars they've made for the last few thousand years.
Now we are matured. So we corrected. Mankind will correct the mistakes of the past very, very quickly. Very, very quickly.
So that's nice to hear. That's
Very
nice,
quickly, because once
because
we will change, mankind will change. It's the beauty of it. We will see, you see, when you have somebody extending a position, people cannot see the position, so people keep on battling. When both sides see the position, the reality, there is no battle. So we don't take position. And with it, we don't take possession. I refer this especially in the past few weeks, and I've said it before. In the second week of talks in the negotiation in Vienna, I moved to Vienna to back the negotiation by request of 2 or 3 governments. They knew we could do something. When the first week of negotiation hit and it was all going back doing nothing, and I entered negotiation with IAEA, with Dr. Rossi, receiving exactly what we were not discussing, we were not supposed to discuss, now we discuss and it's there. Out of the fear of it becoming public, Americans and Israelis had to back off. And we came to a reach point. Because we showed we don't talk in public, but we have a huge things. If we talk in public, will bring demise to a lot of things at the end of it. The wisdom of using the knowledge has brought us peace. Not fighting to kill. This is the maturity of the man. Look at the Israeli press since 15th of December and see how much rhetoric about Iran having nuclear bomb has changed, even sometimes that fire. And now go in the report, which will be released in the future. You see how simply we open the hand of the Israelis in cheating and lying. And strange enough, the IAEA did not share this document with 5+1 negotiation when they were there, the key people, the intermediary, to actually oversee the transition. It's the wisdom of knowing how to use, but at the same time, wisdom of being wise enough not to we can now do things in a different way. Now we have to be wise and elevate their souls. I said to the council, you do the work on the background, I do the physicality in the front. It's beautiful, we have reached peace. I told you a month ago that all negotiations are going to be peaceful and it's going to be reached next 2 or 3 days. It'll go back to 2015 and all the sanctions will go. Many children will receive medicine and children survive in Iran, but it'll create a lot of jobs in America in a peaceful way. That many American children go hungry because the father doesn't have a job, now will have a job. It's both sides benefit by this process. According to the statistics from the United Nations, more children go to sleep hungry in the United States than any other nation in the world, and it's supposed to be the richest nation on this planet. Even in Africa, children don't go to sleep hungry as many as they do in the United States. It's change, it'll bring the change, and they bring the position, bring the what we call the next step in development of peace from bad. The peace is not the guns, the peace is a peace of mind. having a peaceful nation, having understanding what it means. We can talk, we can negotiate, we can bring things. I think Rick posted or somebody posted on the internet that at the end of this barricade and blockages of the bridges in Canada, the police and the protesters cuddled and kissed each other.
Right.
In the past was all gas masks and bullets and shooting and running.
The police even bragged that like all of the border blockages have just evaporated basically, and they've come to an agreement. And with the hugging and hugging of each other, the police actually hugged the protesters and shook hands and whatnot. And they had no arrests, and there was no tickets, and they just agreed to part, basically.
In a way, they mature to understand. You talk, but there's still at the end of it. You are my neighbor, you're my friend. At the end of it, we have to have the same barbecue together somewhere down the line.
Yeah, and while mentioning that, things have escalated today, and the police moved into Ottawa and seized the popcorn machine.
Yeah, you know,
But the police officers wanted more popcorn than the protesters, didn't they?
They'll probably give it back, but you know.
These politicians, did you see the press conference of Mr. Trudeau and his deputy about sort of blocking all the money, and from now on peaceful demonstration is a crime and we will put you into prison and I don't know what. But what these people forget is that with every day they're losing a few hundred or 1,000 policemen. The military already said, we're not going against our people.
You see, what the
It's
position is the same. We have the same situation in Austria now. The
Yes.
police refuse to do the job of the government.
That's why
For
he just came
with COVID.
to
Yeah,
visit
and now
Switzerland.
after this Sunday, we are free. We are free to shop. We are free to go to restaurants. They're still asking for a test that you don't have a COVID, which in a way is good. If you don't have a cold, you don't go. But COVID is a cold. Actually, it's more cold.
Right.
It's a very interesting position regarding this COVID situation in Austria. That is, it's amazing. The number of the contaminated people has passed 30,000 in a continuous daily basis, 35, 37, whatever. We're talking thousands, but not many people in the hospital. So it's a normal flu. They're detecting how many. But the more we are getting, the more they're relaxing the boundaries. At the beginning of the corona, when 1,000 became to 2,000, we had to stay home lockdown. Now we went from 6,000, 7,000 to 30,000. All the restrictions are taken off. We can go shopping. There is nothing. And from apparently 5th of March, I've been told, everything is back to normal. And more countries are doing this.
The Chancellor
Logic is upside down.
It's upside down. But
the Chancellor of Austria just was in Switzerland for 2-3 days. And they talked with our government. Our government, Monday, Tuesday, talking with the Austrian government. We are already, everything is away since
there are
last
more
night.
and more European nations are reducing. Romania has released it. UK has opened up the quarantine as long as you have a test. You are contaminated, just check. If you are, don't come in. That's all it is, which is good.
Absolutely, but Mr. Cash, the whole thing.
I'm not going into the whole thing. I'm talking about the wisdom of the man. If you want to go into politics, a different politics.
No, I don't want to go to politics. It's just over the last few weeks only, the general public sort of found out that this whole suppression from side of the government was
you see, you got to understand something. You have a local, you have a national, you have an international, and you have a global structures. This situation was designed by global runners, not by the national and the governments. And the global runners relied on the greed of the man to become rich. That's all they did. The rest of it is how you manage the process. And sooner or later, it had to go away, but this was expected. 2 years run, you look at the total economical damages or debts of the nations, and then you look who has become much richer and who has taken control of the central banks. The only people who came out of this successful were African nations. Where the European nations went under more debts with injections, Africans didn't have it, they didn't go. Now, if you put a balance, it's just actually more balancing the poorer nations with the richer nations that become poorer, they have to pay all this injection money. These injections are not more than $2, they're $100 and odd dollars each. You understand? And so we'll see a correction in the economy in the next 5 years, but we need the technologies to bring that correction. Otherwise, we are back in the same doldrums. I said to one of the American space people very recently, I said, you know, you got this stupid situation which is building up in the ports of Los Angeles and most of the ports of America. You cannot ship everything. You have to go into the port. You have to get container by container. I said, why don't you join us that we load up the container in the factory, we deliver it to the point of need, warehouse, office, wherever. Then there is no need for port work to do the job. And we're going to reach that point. In a way, the long-term look is we respect the truckers in Canada. We respect all the truckers around the world. We respect the marine workers in the shipyards and whatever you call it, in the ports, in the big ships, shipping things for us. But if you stand still 1 minute and understand what is on the screen of the Keshe Foundation for past months, especially 2 months, and now I said to, John and to other people in the Keshe Foundation, there is 9 of them getting ready, and then next week 12, 15 of them getting ready, and hundreds will start rolling out in the next few months. What are these truckers going to do when I can pick a package, not in the port of Shanghai, not in the truck driver to get it there, in the factory? And I don't get it to the port of Los Angeles or California for a trucker to take it. I deliver it directly to. The job of trucking and transportation, the way we know it, will be rescheduled, it'll be redone. Thousands of years we relied on the sailors. Now the tool of sailing has changed from the curtain hanging to the engine and now to the plasma technology. What are we going to do with millions of jobs in the trucking industry in the next 10, 20 years? You have to understand, the companies, once they see they want to get the product to their customer and there is a cheaper, faster way to do it, they go for it.
Mr. Keshe, I'm counting on you.
No, I'm counting on humanity.
I'm counting on you for
No. You don't
Mr.
count
Keshe,
on anything.
Let me tell my thought. It's if we sort of will develop over the next time as much as possible your technology, and people.
No, it's our technology. We open the patent. We are all
I say your
it.
technology, the Keshe Foundation's technology.
It's a humanity technology.
Yeah,
because as a humanity, we'll start developing it.
No, I
so
don't.
We benefit by
it. Everybody can benefit from that, and if there can be the possibility where people start not being hungry, not being happy, having a roof over where they can sleep, Mr. Kesh, then, and if the travel into the universe can start, these people can go there. They will go there. And they will, if ever they come back as peaceful, nice people visiting their relatives or their friends or whatever. If we finally come to this point where all these weird psychopath people who have for 3,000 or 5,000 years nothing done but wars, if these people suddenly
Excuse me, can I stop you there? Can you stop you there? Your fathers, your ancestors, your forefathers, the same as mine, have been part of this process.
Right.
And partially in earlier life, you're older, we become a bit wiser. It's always good to know when you're on the hindsight. We were part of it, we're still part of it. We just want to glorify the parts we think we became to understand. Now it's better, we're going to be changed. We, as a race, we've all been in it. And collectively, we have to accept the responsibility for it, and collectively have to find a solution for it. And that collective decision to find a solution only comes with a change in the habit, a change in the social structure of understanding the process of life. When the first steam bucket was made, and then we understood the power of the steam, what we call the Industrial Revolution, the man in Africa still has a problem to find a bucket to boil water to create a steam to do something with it. The knowledge is stuck in the towns, cities, and not gone down the line, even 200 years after Industrial Revolution. It's us who has to bring that plasma revolution, that understanding of the change through the soul of the man to all the man at the same time. When we reach collectively to all through the understanding of the new process of sharing knowledge unconditionally. It is very strange when they understand the difference. I was writing, I had to do an article in the past few days. And in this article, I specifically had to explain this because we had to explain it. In 2010, by order of Obama, I was kept with the lies of the Belgians creating a seminar on terrorists in Toronto for 11 days. Been told to be killed every day. And by order of the same president 2 years later, they asked for the key of the knowledge of the plasma. The knowledge was the same. It's how they covered it with the lies and was accepted the first time. You fool me once, you can't fool me twice. When it came to the, what you call March, April of 2013, when I escaped out of Belgium to Italy. Belgium, because they fooled the American the first time issuing a summons, I'm a terrorist, I came from Iran. They believed them, they kept me, and they didn't realize what they've done to themselves. When the Belgians issued the second summons as a terrorist, Americans showed them the two fingers. And then what happened? They changed the same code, the same number of summons, nothing changed, just the text has been rubbed off and put as, what do you call it, medical fraud. It wasn't there. We got the papers, we got both summons. People became wise to it. And the funny thing is, the Americans were fooled again by the Israelis the same way about the nuclear talk. They now became wise to it. It's us who allows people to do what they do to us. It's us as a human race who accepted these things because it's benefited us. It's a revolution in the soul of the man for the first time. Not revolution in the matter state of the man. It's a revolution which is a silent within the man, which is bringing the change, and is done by understanding that for the first time the soul of the man is within the physicality of the man. Nobody can cheat you anyway. And this is where the change will come. When you elevate the soul of the man, every man in every corner of this planet will benefit by it. It is not a steam engine that has been around for 200 years, and Africans don't have any clue what to do with it or in the jungle of Amazon. Man had a machete and a knife for thousands of years and went to Amazon and into Papua New Guinea. They gave a knife to see what it does, and the man never seen such a thing, and they could dominate the man. Just the knowledge of piece of metal. And this has gone now, the knowledge of the plasma has to be understood. It's been understood. When I listen to Raphael, it gives me such a pleasure. It's such a joy to hear him, to see him on his monthly report to the foundation, how they have taken the knowledge into the depth of Amazon. Before, we took knives to show them how to cut. Now we take the plasma technology and they understand it the same way as a knife. They know how to protect themselves from diseases, how to use it for their benefit. The souls like Raphael, the souls like other knowledge seekers around the world who are going and are developing the teaching through the soul, not the dimension of the physicality of it. That's where the change will come. This is the revolution, and evolution through the soul of the man. This is where the Keshe Foundation is. Not the plasma technology that you can have a better machines and you find cheap food. Because when you're soul elevated, you can feed the physicality in every dimension. Thank you very much. Are there any other questions, Rick? Or shall we call it a day?
I think you want to wrap it up here, Mr. Keshe. There's always more questions. There was a new person, Mark, with a hand up here, but if people can take your questions till next week, then that'll be fine. And
let's see what he has to say, and we go on.
Okay. Mark, if you're Mark.
Yes,
Yes.
You hear me.
If you
now.
could say who you are and where you're from, that'd be great. Thank you.
This is Mark. Mr. Keshe, hello. Rick, hello. I was the Dutch guy living in Germany last week.
Oh, yeah. And which country are you this week?
Well, it's still Germany.
It's still Germany.
I have two questions. You talk about elevated soul, but in principle, our soul is elevated. That means you mean more that this pure love seeks through or seeps through all these rings of being onto the physicality. Is that correct? Or is it elevated soul in the terms of your soul becomes more aware?
Awareness of existence, true existence.
Yes, but it is my soul has always been aware, but I become from let's say from the mind side, I become aware of this
Its
present,
existence.
as this existence, and not only
Yeah.
from the mind side, from the feeling side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is what we always said. Emotion. You call it a feeling. It's
Emotion,
from the
exactly.
emotion side.
Yes.
Where we're the only common things between the soul of the man, soul of physicality of man is the emotion.
Yes. Yes.
And if we understand that, we solve the problem.
Yes. I completely agree. So the next question. When
Can I ask
somebody,
you a question by any chance? I remember who you are.
yes,
Did you
I
send
will,
your request to the foundation?
yes, I will write you an email, Mr. Cash, because I have something I would like to say. Now, if a person dies in agony and the soul goes into a new realm, does this
Into what?
into the new space, a new form, let's put it that way?
Yeah.
Now, does this agony stick onto the soul, or is this
What depends what you call agony?
free of it? Well,
What you call pain, suffering.
yeah, if somebody is dying from cancer and has terrible pain, etc., etc.
This is a very touchy thing to touch. We find people who've been very charitable in life or whatever die of the same cancer as those who've done massive crimes.
Yes, I'm not asking that. I'm
Yeah.
asking if
No. I'm trying to answer you in a different way.
Okay.
That process of agony and pain, is it to bring the point of maturity to the man in understanding the true oneself? The problem is, we are not inside the body of the man. We are not in the process, the thought of the man. We see the physical pain. We see the physical agony. We do not know what that man is balancing or understanding or elevating his souls through that power, through that pain. So that's what counts. Chinese have a beautiful saying, and always mention it. They say, suffering brings wisdom, and wisdom brings richness in a way.
Yes. Yes.
So is that physical dimension of suffering brings the man to calculate, to understand more of what is done right and what is wrong and what's got to be put right.
Yes.
And what it needs to change. That's then the suffering, physical suffering is, I was told very recently, you can mend everything. Why do you come here to break your bones and do this and do that? You can live without suffering. But till we don't taste it, we don't understand it, we cannot find a solution for it.
Yes, absolutely.
So what are we here for?
Yes. Yeah. I understand that. I understand. It's the contrast which is being presented to you, and through this contrast, you can
I'm not going for a contrast. I'm not going for a contrast.
Okay, well,
I'll go back to the teaching of today.
Yeah.
You have to understand the emotion of the soul and the emotion of the physicality, the soul of physicality.
Yes.
They have to match. That's where the point of maturity comes.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
You understand?
Yes.
This is where maybe in the physical suffering, we change. We seem the same. Some people try to cover it up. Some people try to correct it, and some people try to show they are correcting it. But in fact, in essence, the show is the same underneath.
Yeah.
And this is where it comes when we mature to it. But do we need that physical suffering to mature the soul? Maybe no. Maybe it's a time frame that the soul needs to adjust itself before separation. We see more and more people living to hundreds and 80s and 90s. And statistically, because of the healthcare and whatever we are living longer and longer.
Mm-hmm.
But does that affect the dimension of the soul the longer you live? Do you understand? So if you
Yes.
live 1,000 years, would your soul become very wise?
Yes, yes, yes.
You understand?
Yeah.
Or in a way, you become more knowledgeable about the work of your soul.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
what it counts.
Yes,
You
exactly.
understand?
Yes,
So
yes.
it's a very touchy point. It's understanding it, that what it is, it's the fine line of existence.
Yes.
And we do sometimes. I always told why you buy, if you can make gold, why you still foundation? Because my gold is different than your gold.
Yeah.
Your gold is that yellow stuff on the thing. My gold is teaching of the knowledge seekers that they teach the others. I'm
Yes.
always rich. You
Yes.
always have to look for that yellow stuff.
Yes. Yes.
And that's what it counts.
Yeah.
And somehow my gold appears whenever it's needed on the table, which is done by the knowledge seekers to help the other knowledge seekers.
Yes.
You understand? This is the way it is. The time of suffering to help the others is finished. I live a comfortable life,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't need the extremity of the extreme. I live comfortable for what I do, the way I do. This gives me comfort that what I can do, how I can serve.
Yes. Yes.
It's not the time of being a hermit sitting in the cave and don't eat and beer grown. I'm very smart. I wear ties. I travel with everything which God can give, because that gives the image, that gives the confidence to the people that there is a purpose for this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There is a purpose it can bring. I was
Yes.
told by one of my Chinese friends, you're the most unusual prophet.
Mm-hmm.
I said, yes, my profit is for you to profit with your soul, not to have things to own.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in
Absolutely.
the knowledge, in the time of knowledge seekers, we have knowledge seekers who've been the members of the Universal Council, and they have offered hundreds of thousands of meters of land to the foundation's donation. I refused.
Mm-hmm.
I had richest people in the world offering us properties.
Mm-hmm.
I refused because I know it has no value. But
Yes.
when we need the financial help, I go to the what you call knowledge seekers. You are rich. We need because we serve, and they always respond. We have no, even the properties which we work on, we rent, we buy.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, we can say, okay, knowledge, can you do this? We do what they call it now, goal funding.
Mm-hmm.
We don't do that. We
Mm-hmm.
we invest in the knowledge in the soul of the man, and when is the
Yes.
time for it is done? And this is
Yes.
the maturity of time.
Yeah.
And this is where the difference comes.
Mr. Kesh, I feel this very profoundly what you are doing. And just as little feedback, last Thursday gave me such a immense, a good feeling. And I'm going through all your understanding plasma science videos, all 12 of them. I think I'm at the half now, and I've done my first cup of life. And it's very interesting, and I'd like to continue and even go in depth, because I'm teaching change of emotions to people and how to understand that you can consciously change it. And this is your teachings are beautiful on this mission I have set myself.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
I know what you do. You told us what you do. Going back to it, we're still waiting if you would like to collaborate with us. But generally, hopefully before in the next few days and weeks, we'll go out directly, what I call headhunting for the heads who can bring that change. And maybe somebody who understands both the emotion and physicality will bring things about.
Yes.
We, as I said to our directors of the Keshe Foundation, before we used to do in one front, and they used to go after us in one front. Now the Keshe Foundation has friends in many fronts, and the beauty of it is you are doing it as knowledge seekers, not us.
Mhm.
The foundation is just point of the centralizing the
Yes.
effort. But
Yes.
it's great to see, it's beautiful to see when I receive information through in the background weeks and months, and we understand what is to come. It gives an immense pleasure that the change is there to come, and the governments are standing behind Keshe Foundation now, which the governments which they used to batter us, now they are there. They want to finance us. They want the technology to be, because the leaders of the governments have realized there is a bigger thing than a Maghreb unit or a what I call a pillow talk chit chat, which is used to damage.
Yes.
And it has brought a lot of good things for us. I cannot speak much at this moment, but the joy inside me is amazing in what is to come.
Yes.
And mankind will elevate in one way or another very soon, much faster.
Yes. Absolutely. I would like to be part of that of your movement, and
We are not movement, we are all moving.
conscious. I say consciousness. Yes. Yeah.
We'll see what comes up, but
Yeah.
there is such a bright future,
Yes.
not in the horizon, we are in it. Actually, sometimes it scares me even to talk about it, because it has to be there, done by the knowledge seekers to see it done. And even in past 48 hours, last week, we needed something because we knew it's a change, part of game changer for us. And out of nowhere, he appeared. And yesterday concluded, and I sat back and I said, I never asked anything, but my wish was so deep inside, which is needed, and it just threw itself out of the window in our lap.
Exactly.
That's all I need to do. I don't need to go to rob, to lie, to cheat, to do anything.
Yes.
My wish is there to serve, and somehow the way is there is planned years ago to be there on that day, and it appears.
Exactly.
And this is how it's going to be. And we'll see. There is a huge change coming on Keshe Foundation.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely don't know how to bring it out, but we know what is going on and what is going to happen. But interesting point is the whole humanity is going to benefit by it.
Yes.
And that's a change. It's a beautiful. We'll come out very soon with it. I mean, it's in the hand of the heads of the Keshe Foundation, the two ladies, and the people who head the foundation in different ways, and especially council, to get their act together very quickly, because I think world leaders will surpass the work of the Keshe Foundation in bringing and trying to do the work of the foundation.
Yes.
And in so many ways, maybe it's the wrong way to say, maybe the right way to say, collectively, we have done it. We have achieved that bridging point as a human race in different ways. But some of us created the wars, and some of us wished for the peace, and it taught the ones who created the war to mature.
Exactly.
And it's beautiful.
Exactly.
Anyway, thank you very much.
Yes.
Keep in touch.
Yes.
We're looking for a massive. I don't just wait in the next few days and we see after next Tuesday, because the change comes around next Tuesday, and then we'll see how the change will come.
So when I can just write, can I write you an email?
You don't write to me, write to info@keshe.foundation. And put in there for attention of Mr. Keshe. Get to me.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks
Mr.
for your
Keshe.
being
Thank you.
there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Rick, shall we call it a day?
Yes, I do see it. Andreas had a hand up here. Maybe it was related to something about Mark, and maybe just allow him to talk and not get into an involved question here. Andreas, did you have something you wanted to bring up?
Yes, good day to everyone. Good day, Mr. Keshe. Thank you. I would have a question about the blood system it's maybe not related, but also related. It's about why the blood
I don't know
is
if we have time for that
okay.
now. Mr.
Okay.
Kesh has wanted to kind of wrap up several times here, but
Thank you very
you
much.
could probably
Next
carry
week.
it on to next week would be best.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Andres.
We thank you for being there. I hope we learned a little bit. We shared a little bit, and sometimes sharing it brings a lot of emotion. But in a way, that's what the man is made of in the dimension of Zakat. His emotion dictates his direction of work, and maybe now we can do more in bringing the change in a beautiful way. Thank you very much, Rick. Thank you for the whole Dr. Keshe Foundation in the background making it possible. Thank you very much for having all the knowledge seekers, and especially what I call the people who are the game changers in the Keshe Foundation. Thank you very much. See you next week, and most probably I'll be attending the One Planet, One Nation, One Race on the 22nd as we celebrate with the Universal Council, the change to come, and we understand the totality of the change. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kesh. And I remind people that workshop, the One Nation, One Planet, One Race for World Peace and Justice, starts at 4 p.m. Central European Time on Tuesday, the 22nd. That'll be the next public workshop from the Keshe Foundation. I think that's all for announcements right now. Thank you, everyone, for attending today at the 420th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, February 17th, 2022. Thanks once again, Mr. Kesh, for all your efforts. And we look forward to what comes up with the Universal Council on Tuesday. Okay, I'm going to share a couple of the videos from the Keshe Foundation to go out with, and we'll see you all next time around. Bye for now.